Chandragupta II or Chandragupta Vikramaditya was one of the most powerful emperors of the Gupta Empire in northern India. His rule spanned in the century 380 to 413 or 415 Common Era, during which the Gupta Empire achieved its zenith. Art, architecture, and sculpture flourished, and the cultural development of ancient India reached its climax. The period of prominence of the Gupta dynasty is very often referred to as the Golden Age of India. Chandragupta too was the son of the previous ruler Samudragupta. Samudragupta set the stage for the emergence of classical art, which occurred under the rule of Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II gave great support to the arts. Artists were so highly valued under his rule that they were paid for their work, a rare phenomenon in ancient civilization. From 388 to 409, he subjugated Gujarat, the region north of Mumbai, Saurashtra in western India, and Malwa with its capital at Ujjain. Chandragupta too controlled a vast empire from the mouth of the Ganges to the mouth of the Indus River, and from what is now North Pakistan down to the mouth of the Narmada. Patliputra continued to be the capital of its huge empire, but Ujjain too became a sort of second capital. The large number of beautiful gold coins issued by the Gupta dynasty are a testament to the imperial grandeur of that age. Chandragupta too also started producing silver coins in the Saka tradition. Faxian was the first of three great Chinese pilgrims who visited India from the 5th to the 7th century Common Era in search of knowledge, manuscripts, and relics. Faxian arrived during the reign of Chandragupta II and gave a general description of North India at that time. Among the other things, he reported about the absence of capital punishment, the lack of a poll tax, and land tax. Most citizens did not consume onions, garlic, meat, and wine. Faxian wrote, "The people were rich and prosperous and seemed to emulate each other in the practice of virtue. Charitable institutions were numerous and rest houses for travelers were provided on the highway. The capital possessed an excellent hospital." The nine gems of Chandragupta's court were Kalidasa, who was the author of the great epic Shakuntala, great poet, dramatist, and the most prominent scholar of Sanskrit language. Amarasinna, author of Sanskrit Amarkosh. Shapanaka, prominent astrologist who had achieved mastery in astrology. Dhanvantari, a doctor who had achieved mastery in the science of medicine, one who was an expert in diagnosis, and one who could prescribe different treatments for a single disease. Varuchi, expert in linguistics and an expert in grammar. Varahamira, author of world famous epic and mastery in astrology. Ghatakpara, expert in sculpture and architecture. Shanku, who was expert in geography. And Vetalabhadra, expert in black magic and tantric sciences. In 4th century Common Era, Sanskrit poet Kalidasa credits Chandragupta Vikramaditya with having conquered about 21 kingdoms both in and outside India. After finishing his campaign in the east and west India, Vikramaditya proceeded northwards, subjugated the Persians and then the Hunas and the Kambojas tribes located in the west and east valleys respectively. Thereafter, the king proceeds across the Himalaya and reduces the Kinnaras, Kiratas, etc., and lands into Indian proper. After defeating the Sakas, he resumed the title Sakari. An inscription engraved on the iron pillar of Meroli village near Qutub Minar in Delhi mentions a king named Chandra who defeated the combined army of Vanga, Bengal kings and conquered the Valika kingdom across the seven seas. Chandragupta too was the first Gupta king to issue silver coins. These coins were intended to replace the silver coinage of the western Kshatrapas after Chandragupta too defeated them and were modeled on the Kshatrapa coinage. The main difference was to replace the dynastic symbol of the Kshatrapas, the three arched hill, by the dynastic symbol of the Guptas. Chandragupta II was succeeded by his second son Kumaragupta I. Close to the Qutub Minar is one of Delhi's most curious structures, an iron pillar dating back to the 4th century Common Era. The pillar bears an inscription which states that it was erected as a flagstaff in honor of the Hindu god Vishnu and in the memory of Chandragupta II.